When you're happy with how your project sounds, you'll need to create a single WAV file for broadcast. This WAV will contain all the clips in your multitrack session in the order you've put them, at the levels you've mixed them at, with all the effects you've applied to them. Doing this is called bouncing, or mixing down. If you're mixing down all files in the session, all you've got to do is Control and A. That will select all of the files and make them available for mix down. If not, hold down the Control key and select individual files, as we've seen before. To mix down, Edit window, and Mix down to File. All audio clips if you've selected them, or selected audio clips. The shortcut looks like a little zipper, and you'll find it on the top left of your window. Hover your mouse over it and it should tell you Mix down selected waves. You may be prompted to save your file at this point. Select No. Audition will now create a mix down for you of all of the files you've selected. When it's done, you'll be taken back to the Edit view and your file will automatically be called Mix Down. Now if you're happy with your mix at this point, you can save it, but if you're not, you can always go back into the multitrack view and tweak the levels some more. I often do this when I'm working on a really important project, and doing trial mix downs or bounces is really useful, so you can hear exactly how the file sounds when it's finished. Now I'm pretty happy with that, so I'm going to go to the file, double click on Mix Down, and Save As. I'll save that as JHMix1 so I can have a listen to it later. If you want to push your mix down out on an email or upload it as a podcast, you'll need to save a copy of this file as an MP3. MP3 files are always smaller than the original WAV file it comes from, but there is a trade-off. You'll get a smaller file size, but the audio quality will also be compromised. This is quite noticeable on some music, but it's not so noticeable on voice, and there are some guidelines. So let's make an MP3 version of this file. File. Save Copy As this time, not Save As, but Save Copy As. Now I'll save this MP3 version back into the same location as the original file. I'll change the name as well to JHMix1MP3. Now the important thing here is we go to the Save As Type dialog and drop the box down. We're not choosing WAV here, we're choosing MP3. It's MP3 Pro FHG.mp3. Let's select that. But before we save, let's go into Options. This allows us to further control the level of compression that we apply to this file. There are two types of bitrate, variable bitrate and constant bitrate. Variable changes depending on how complex the sound is, or how complex the computer believes the sound is. Constant keeps it at the very same level all the way through. We'll use constant bitrate. Underneath that you'll see the various compression options. I'll draw your eye here to the right-hand side of the list, where you'll see 8:1, 4:1, 16:1, and so on. When compressing voice alone, you'll probably get away with doing 16:1 at a very, very extreme. With music, 8:1 is the max, so as this piece has music and voice, I wouldn't compress it any more than 8:1. Again, this is a personal preference, and certain recordings will sound fine, others won't, so you may often have to just try it and see. But bear in mind that the higher the bit rate, the lower the compression ratio, the better the quality your audio will be. I'm compressing here at 8:1. So my JHMix1.mp3 will be now saving as an MP3 at a compression ratio of 8:1, which means the MP3 will be 1/8 of the size of the WAV. Let's click Save, and the computer will do the work. Before it does, it'll say, you're saving to a compressed or lossy format. Are you sure you want to do this? And we click OK, because we've already got a version of it saved as a WAV. Again, you're saving Copy As, not saving as. That's very important here. Final thing I'll show you, again, let's just zip back into multitrack view, is to save your session. Now we've already saved this session as demo1.ses. But we haven't updated the save. There's an asterisk right next to the file name. So it's File and Save Session. Again, ensure all of your component files and audio clips are in the same folder. I'd advise you back up this folder immediately after finishing work on your project. Of course, this depends on the seriousness of the work, but it's not a bad habit to get into. You can burn a chunk of folders containing audio information to a DVD when you've got about 4 gigabytes or so, or you can copy them across to an external hard drive, which you can then set up as an archive. I'm not trying to make you paranoid here, but there are some certainties in life: death, taxes, and hard drive failure. So always have more than one backup of really important stuff you don't ever want to lose. Again, you might want to take one hard disk for a backup and also a bit of storage in the cloud. It's up to you. Now that's it. I hope you've enjoyed our course, and fingers crossed we've made life a little easier for you. Till next time, happy editing.